Hello there and welcome again to Tales from the World's Firesides. I'm Clive Gilson, aka the Story Guy, and I'm really glad you're here. Today we're diving into a classic Irish folk tale called Bewitched Butter. This little gem comes from my collection Tales from the Land of Saints and Scholars, where I've handpicked, edited and adapted some of the finest Irish folk and fairy tales for people like you. So let's get comfy and let's jump straight into the magic together. Bewitched Butter. Not far from Rathmullen, there lived last spring a family called Hanlon, and in a farmhouse some fields distant were people called Docherty. Both families had good cows, but the Hanlons were fortunate in possessing a Kerry cow that gave more milk and yellower butter than any of the others. Now Grace Docherty, a young girl who was more admired than loved in the neighbourhood, took much interest in the Kerry cow and appeared one night at Mrs. Hanlon's door with the modest request, "Will you let me milk your moily cow?" "Now, why would you wish to milk wee moily, Grace dear?" inquired Mrs. Hanlon. "Oh, just because you're so busy at the present time," replied the girl. "Well, thank you kindly, Grace, but I'm not too busy to do my own work. I'll not trouble you to milk the cow." The girl turned away with a discontented air, but the next evening, and the next, found her at the cowhouse door making the same request. At length Mrs. Hanlon, not knowing well how to persist in her refusal, yielded and permitted Grace to milk the Kerry cow. But she soon had reason to regret her want of firmness, for Moily gave no more milk to her owner after that. When this melancholy state of things lasted for 3 days, the Hanlons applied to a certain Mark MacCarrion who lived near Binion. "That cow has been milked by someone with an evil eye," he said. "Would she give you just a wee drop, do you think? The full of a pint measure would do." "Oh, aye, Mark, dear, I'll get that much milk from her anyway," said Mrs. Hanlon. "Well, Mrs. Hanlon, lock the door and get 9 new pins that have never been used in clothes, and put them into a saucepan with the pint of milk, set them on fire, and let them come to the boil." So the 9 pins soon began to simmer in Moily's milk. Rapid steps were heard approaching the door, and agitated knocks followed, and Grace Docherty's high-toned voice was raised in eager entreaty. "Let me in, Mrs. Hanlon," she cried. "Take off that cruel pot, take out them pins, for they're pricking holes in my heart, and I'll never offer to touch milk of yours again." And so the curse was lifted. And that's a wrap on today's story. This little gem comes from William Carleton originally, although this version has been adapted from Fairy and Folk Tales of the Irish Peasantry by William Butler Yeats, published in 1888 by the Walter Scott Publishing Company. Now, as you know, I love digging up these forgotten tales and giving them a fresh spin, especially for folks who might not have come across them before. There's just something magical about stories that have been passed down the generations. I think they connect us across those periods of time and cultures. Now, if you like this one and want more folklore and forgotten tales, you can check out my books on places like Amazon, all good online and retail bookstores, and there is a link in the main text that accompanies this video. If you want to dive even deeper into Tales from the World's Firesides, or are just curious about me, Clive Gilson, the story guy, head over to clivegilson.com. Now, before you go, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help more people find these stories. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then please, what are you waiting for? I post fresh stories pretty much every week. There's well over 100 up there now, so make sure you don't miss out. You'll have 36 or so thousand colleagues currently who are also subscribers and who are enjoying the stuff, and I'm really grateful to every single one of you who does join. Now, that's it for now, so until next time, keep reading, keep listening, stay inspired, and take care.